Today we're looking at Chapter 2 test. We're going to be reviewing by looking at a harder version of the actual test you're taking, and we're going to go over each problem together from that test. So this is for Pre-Algebra Chapter 2 test review. Here's the copy of the test that we're going to go over. We're going to, for the first section, find either the sum or the difference. So we're either going to add or subtract. There's two rules that you need to remember when you're adding, and that's if you are adding two negative numbers, you would add the two numbers and then take the negative sign. But if you are adding a negative and a positive number, you would subtract the two numbers and take the higher absolute value numbers sign. So we're going to do, for number one, it says negative 36 plus 27, and I'm going to be going back and forth here. So negative 36 plus 27. Since we have one negative and one positive, we're going to subtract and take the higher number's sign, so that means it's going to be negative, but we're going to do 36 minus 27, and that would give us 11. Oh, I'm sorry, 9. And then I would take the higher number, which is the 36 when we do the absolute value. So 36 is negative, so my answer is negative. So negative 9 would be my answer. Next one, 12 minus 28. The only rule to remember with subtraction is that you save, change, change. So we're going to save the 12, meaning we're not changing it. We're going to change the minus to a plus, and we're going to change the sign of the next number to a negative 28. So this would look like what we just did for the first example. We need to subtract the two numbers, which gives us 16. And since the 28 is the higher absolute value and it's negative now, that makes the answer negative 16. Then we have the absolute value of negative 24 plus the absolute value of 15. And absolute value is always positive since it measures the distance from that number is from 0. So 24, the absolute value of negative 24 is positive 24. The absolute value of 15 is 15. So we're really adding 24 plus 15, which gives us 39. Another example, negative 18 minus negative 17. This is going to use our only subtraction rule, which is save, change, change. So that makes it one negative, one positive. So we subtract, which gives us 1. And 18 is the higher absolute value, so it is going to be a negative 1. And then we have absolute value of 25 minus the absolute value of negative 3. So we're going to take the absolute value first, which is 25, and then the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. So we're left with 25 minus 3, which gives us 22. Now we're looking at the next section, which is finding the product or quotient, which means multiply or divide. The only rule you need to remember with multiplication and division is you're going to keep the same sign if they're both positive. If they're both negative, they're also going to be positive, the answer. And then if you have one negative and one positive, your answer is going to be negative. So the first one is negative 54 times negative 4. Since both are negative, we're going to have an answer of a positive here. So when we multiply negative 54 times 4, we get 216. So it's going to be a positive 216. Next one, negative 91 divided by negative 7. Again, these are both negative, so we're going to divide 91 divided by 7, which gives us 13, and since they're both negative, my answer is going to be a positive 13. Next example here, we have a negative and a positive, and we're multiplying. So we multiply 16 times 5 to give us 80, but our answer is going to be a negative 80 since one is positive and one is negative. And then we have negative 136 divided by 4, and that's also one negative and one positive. So 136 divided by 4 gives us 34, and my answer is going to be negative 34 because one was negative. And then the final one here in that section, 408 divided by negative 4, or the absolute value of negative 4. So that just makes it positive 4. So we're doing 408 divided by 4. And our answer is going to be positive since both numbers are positive, which gives us positive 102. For the next section, we're asked to compare the two numbers. So we're going to use the symbol, the inequality symbol, either a less than or a greater than, unless they're equal to each other, and then we'll put an equal sign. So if we're thinking of the number 11 compared to negative 24, 11 is the greater number, so we use a symbol that opens towards the 11. Then we have negative 8 compared to negative 7, and negative 8 is the smaller number, so we're going to be pointing our symbol towards the negative 8. So this first one reads 11 is greater than negative 24, and the second one reads negative 8 is less than negative 7. The next one we have to actually do the problem first. So 6 times 10 gives us 60, and we're comparing that to negative 8 times negative 7, which is positive 56. So 60 would be greater than 56. And then the last one, we also have to do the problem. This is x minus negative 1, which we do save, change, change. So it becomes x plus 1. It tells us that 10 is x. So we have 10 plus 1, or 11. And we're comparing that to 15. So 11 is going to be less than 15. The next section, we're asked to evaluate the expression. So it gives us an expression with variables here. We need to plug in the variables first, and then we need to solve the expression. So 2s plus 3t. S is 3, t is 4. So it's 2 times 3 plus 3 times 4. Order of operations says we multiply first. So we have 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 3 times 4 is 12, which gives us 18. Next one, 6t minus 5r, so t is 4, so 6 times 4 minus 5 times negative 2 for r, so that gives us 24 minus negative 10, and we need to save, change, change. That becomes 24 plus 10, or 34. And then the last problem, RST means multiply, R times S times T, so we have negative 2 times 3 times 4 minus ST, which is going to be just 3 times 4. So we have negative 2 times 3, which is negative 6, negative 6 times 4, which is negative 24, minus 3 times 4, which is 12. So save, change, change means negative 24 plus negative 12 is going to give our answer as negative 36, because we're adding two negatives. The next section has us simplify each expression. So when it says simplify, means combining only like terms. So this is all multiplication, it looks like. So what we do to combine like terms is we're going to just multiply the numbers together and then write the letters right next to each other, because all that would mean multiplication at the end. And since we can't combine letters that are different, we're going to just leave them next to each other. So negative 4 times 12y, we're going to multiply negative 4 times 12. Okay, so 12 times 4 gives us 48, and our answer is going to be a negative 48 because one's negative and one's positive. And since it's negative 48 times y, or negative 48y, our answer is going to just have negative 48 with a y right next to it. Then we have negative 6s times negative 5t. We're going to just focus on the negative 6 times the negative 5, which gives us a positive 30. And then the s and t, since they're both multiplication, they're just going to come right after the 30. So we get 30 st, and that's the most we can simplify. Then the next one, we have 5 times negative 1p times negative 3q. I would do the two negatives first, so negative 1 times negative 3 gives us positive 3, and then multiply that by 5 gives us positive 15, and then we're just going to keep the variables next to the 15. So we have a p and a q there, so our answer is going to be 15pq. Then we have this one at the top here, negative 3j right here, times negative 9k. So negative 3 times negative 9 gives us positive 27, and the j and the k are just going to be right next to the 27 since it's multiplication. So our answer would be 27jk. And then the last one, negative 8x times 2y. That's a negative 8 times a positive 2, which gives us negative 16. And the x and y are going to just be right next to the negative 16. So negative 16xy is my answer. The next problem is going to relate to 3 scores that Carrie received on her golf tournament. So this section right here, we have 72, 70, and 77. So her total score is the first question. That means we just add the 3 numbers together, which gives us 219. So 72 plus 70 plus 77 gives us 219. That answers her total score. And then the second question related to this is what was her average score, which we need to take the total and then divide that by 3 because there are 3 numbers. And that will give us the average or the mean of the scores. So 219 divided by 3 is going to give us 73. So this would be her average score. 219 is her total score. The next one we'll do is going to look at number 33 here at the bottom. During 6 days of May, the lowest temperature in the United States was recorded in several towns in Alaska. We need to find the average of the low temperatures. So the temperatures are 14, 8, negative 7, 3, 9, and 3. And we need to find the average of that. So we need to add that up first and then divide by how many numbers there are. So it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. So we're going to divide our total by 6. So our numbers are 14, 8, negative 7, 3, 9, and 3. So 14 plus 8 plus negative 7 plus 3 plus 9 plus 3. So that gives us, and I usually take 2 numbers at a time, so we get 22 plus negative 7 plus, you could do 12 plus 3. Then we could do these 2, which gives us positive 15 plus another 15, which gives us a total of 30. And since there are 6 numbers, we're going to divide that by 6. So our average is going to be 5. The next section relates to the graph here at the top of page 65 here. So this is saying name the ordered pair for each point graphed on the coordinate plane at the right. So we're looking at where F is on the graph. We always start at the origin, and the horizontal is your x coordinate, so that comes first, and then your y coordinate is second in your ordered pair. So if we go from the origin over 1 and up 4, we would get to F, which gives us 1, 4 as our ordered pair. That's for number 20. Now 21 is E. E is going to be right on the x-axis. So that means our y value, or our y coordinate in our ordered pair, is 0. And it's on the x-axis at -5. So our answer is going to be -5, 0. Okay. And then we have G. G, you go over 3 to the right and down 2, so that gives us 3, -2. And then our last point is H, and H is going to be up 3 and to the left 4, so that gives us positive, whoops, I went the wrong way. To the left 4 means -4 for our x, and up 3 would be +3 for our y coordinate. So that's for number 23. Our next section we'll look at is where it says make a table of values and graph 6 sets of ordered pairs for each equation. What this means, and I'm going to actually tell you this for the test as well, is we're going to make what's called a T-chart with our x coordinates on the left and our y coordinates on the right, and you can come up with any 6 numbers that you want for x. I could just tell you you could use 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's fine. And to find your y coordinates, to be able to graph each ordered pair here, because each of these rows represents an ordered pair, we're going to need to plug in 0 for x into each equation and find our y coordinate. So 0 goes in for x into 24. That means 0 minus 2 gives us -2. And we're going to keep going. 1 minus 2 gives us -1. 2 minus 2 is 0. 3 minus 2, 1. And you can see there's a pattern. 4 minus 2, 2. So it's going up 1 each time. So 5 minus 2 is 3. So our 6 ordered pairs that we're going to graph are going to be 0, -2, 1, -1, 2, 0, and so on, so that we graph every ordered pair in our table. Number 25, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to use the next equation, which is x plus y equals -3. You can see that for number 25. So we're going to plug in 0 plus y equals -3. Well, that would mean that y has to be -3. Then you have 1 plus y equals -3, so that's going to give us -4. 2 plus y is -3, that's going to have to be -5, and it's going to be going down each time. Once you see the pattern, you can just fill it in. So the 6 ordered pairs for number 25 are going to be from this table: 0, -3, 1, -4, 2, -5, and so on. And you would just graph those on the graph provided for you. And remember that the x-axis is your horizontal axis. That's where your x coordinates, you're looking for those, and your y-axis is your vertical axis. Now, our last section that we're going to do is over here for number 15 and 16. And I'm actually going to do that on a separate video, since this video is getting kind of long. So look for part 2 video for chapter 2 test review pre-algebra after this video. on YouTube, and that will be going over numbers 15 and 16.